Hello everyone. Welcome back to another Commander review for Magic the Gathering. Today, we are talking about another one of the dragons from the Planar Chaos set. Now, the dragons are new to the set. The rest of the commanders from this set are reimaginings of iconic characters throughout Magic's history. But today is Oros the Avenger. And Oros the Avenger is a legendary dragon, 6/6 power and toughness, with a mana value of 6, 3 generic, 1 white, 1 black, and 1 red. It, like all the other dragons, has the flying keyword, and, like all the other dragons, has a damage-based triggered ability. Whenever Oros deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 and a white. If you do, Oros deals 3 damage to each non-white creature. So this kind of slightly harkens back to Krovak's Ascendant Hero, which cared about white creatures and non-white creatures. This is kind of in that same boat. If your opponents are playing with a white or partially white deck, this commander is not going to be able to deal a lot of damage to your opponents. However, if they're playing anything that doesn't have white, then this card is going to be great at doing a lot of damage across the entire board. For only 3 mana when it deals damage, which is really nice. No card rulings for this commander. Just bear in mind that it is expensive. It's a 6-drop that doesn't have haste. And then every one of your turns, you're going to need at least 3 mana. If you have damage doubling effects, then you're going to need more mana. But you need at least 3 mana to deal 3 damage to each creature that's not white at the table. For all the creatures that you are dealing damage to, however, Basilisk Collar is awesome because all of those creatures are going to immediately die with Death Touch. And all of those creatures that you hit with your 3 damage to each is going to gain you that much life, which is really awesome. This card over the years has just gotten more and more and more amazing creatures to be equipped to. And yeah, this is one of them. Speaking of cards to use with this commander, I was trying to think of a weird, fun, janky build around with this commander. And what I ended up landing on was a Tokens Matter deck. There is a mono black deck that I built for Arena that kind of inspired this, where the whole point of the deck was you use oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called all of a sudden. It's a legendary enchantment. It's the Sibsig Ceremony, I think is what it's called. It's a legendary enchantment, 3 black mana. Your creature spells cost 2 less to cast. However, every time you cast a creature spell and it enters the battlefield, the Sibsig Ceremony destroys it and replaces it with a 2/2 black zombie druid. And so the whole deck I built around was like play really cheap artifact creatures, so they're pretty much all 0 cost. Play a couple of effects that allow me to draw cards from those creatures dying, whether the creatures have them themselves or other cards that let me draw when creatures die, to try and churn through my whole deck, which will do 2 things. If I have an effect like Bastion of Remembrance in play or a Meat Hook Massacre in play, every time my creatures die, my opponents will lose life, and in the case of Bastion of Remembrance, I'll gain a life. And it will fill my board with tokens, so I can like win through bleeding or win through going wide combat damage. So very fun deck. It's not the most powerful on Arena, because Arena's meta right now is not necessarily, that's not a strong deck in Arena right now in the meta, but it's a very fun strategy and I like it a lot. So that is kind of the inspiration for this deck, where you want to make a ton of tokens, preferably that are not white. So that's the only thing that Bastion of Remembrance has against this deck, is that it makes a white human soldier. But with Mobilize, we have tons of support there, and we have other cards like Will of the Mardu a lot of stuff from Tarkir that makes those 1/1 red warrior creature tokens is fantastic. If you want to take the red mercenaries from Outlaws of Thunder Junction and make a bunch of those tokens, you want to make an army of non-white tokens, and you want to have effects like Bastion of Remembrance in play, so that way when Oros triggers and deals 3 damage to all of them, you're going to trigger all of your Bastion of Remembrance effects and bleed out the table as well of your opponents, which would be a lot of fun. Kind of a go wide, build a pillow fort of tokens to protect yourself with, and then with your commander just hit one opponent that is open, board wipe yourself, and then bleed your opponents dry, which I think would be very tricky to build around, but very rewarding if you can do it. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that in the comments section. And that was a big glitch, not a smooth transition, but that is Oros the Avenger. Very cool card. I love these dragons. They are very iconic to me, and very, very cool cards. Lots of different deck ideas you can build around these commanders, so go ahead and look there for any other deck ideas that you want to try. And let me know in the comments section down below if there's anything I missed or I didn't talk about. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!